You have lust, you have passion, you want to you want to have these experiences. However, you don't know how to go about pursuing them in a way that isn't creepy or weird, or you don't want to push people too hard. And so it's this very difficult dance to try and figure out how to deal with something so natural and so normal, express these things in a way that whoever I'm dealing with feels good, feels safe, feels happy, and I'm able to create the kind of connections that I want. I'm able to create the kind of dynamics that I want in a way that I feel really good about, that includes all of my personality. What up, everybody? Welcome back to Operation Moksha. As always, I'm your host, Chris Roscoe, and today we're going to be talking about integrating lust. This was a thing that I really had to deal with, as I'm a very sexual person who just happened to grow up as a Jehovah's Witness. So when you are a very sexual person who grows up in a highly repressive environment, it's not fun to deal with those conflicting energies and find a way to express them in a way that doesn't fucking suck. What does it even mean to integrate lust? A lot of people think when they integrate lust that you're just gonna become this fucking like horny son of a bitch that's just like, I wanna do this, and you're just remove all of your social skills, and you're gonna somehow not see people as people anymore, and you're just gonna be like, I wanna fuck, and that's just gonna be it. And that's not what integrated lust looks like. Because when you integrate lust, you're integrating it into all the other different parts of your personality, which means you're taking your lust, your desire, your passion, all these things, and you're integrating them into the parts of your personality that care about other people. You're integrating them into the parts of your personality that actually want to be connected with other people. You're integrating them to the parts of your personality that actually want to feel good around the person that once the sex is over. That you can have fun with the person before the sex happens, and you can actually have fulfilling connections and relationships where you get to be as dirty as you want to be, but you don't have to be an asshole, you don't have to be a creep, you don't have to turn people off, and you can just be yourself. The creep is basically the guy who is afraid of owning his lust and doesn't know how to integrate it into connection and only sees them as objects. For most of us that are trying to integrate this, we know that that's bad and we know that we don't want to be that guy, and it looks like this false dichotomy, as either we repress our lust or we become that guy, which creates this, again, false dichotomy and shitty ass self-fulfilling prophecy, because you end up behaving in ways that end up being creepy because you're not being honest about what you want. You're basically saying like, oh, I want this, but like I don't feel comfortable wanting this, so I'm gonna say it in weird ways, and I'm gonna be indirect, and I'm gonna drop hints, or maybe I'll lean too far over as a way of compensating, and I'll say some shit that's gonna gross you out. And that is what happens when you don't know how to integrate these things. There are parts of you that care about other people, otherwise this conflict wouldn't exist in your mind. You would just go be the weird dude who's just objectifies people and tries to fuck all the time. The fact that you're not that shows that you care about certain things. So the question becomes, how do I connect the part of me that doesn't care and just wants what it wants with the part of me that does care and understands that people are people and they may not want what I want, and that that's okay, and that rejection's part of this whole process, and that I'd rather just get rejected by owning what I want rather than be all sneaky and shit and maybe get what I want in shady, weird, and God forbid, unconsensual ways. So let's not do that. Both parts of you already exist, otherwise you simply wouldn't have this conflict. The reason you have this conflict is because you have parts that want what they want, but you also know that there's ways you could go about getting them in ways that you don't want. So your job then becomes to listen to the part of you that tells you all the ways in which you don't want to do this, and be like, okay, you're right, I don't want to do it that way. So then at that point, the question becomes, well, how do I want to do it? And this is when you get to kind of step into your own authenticity. Because a lot of guys, instead of doing the internal work, they'll just kind of look at it externally, and they'll look to like dating gurus or like these like alpha male guys on Twitter or whatever, and they'll just like, okay, so that's what you say in this scenario, and that's what you say here, and blah, blah, blah. I got all the scripts in my head. I'm a fucking dork, and I've got all these scripts, so I'm gonna read off a script instead of fucking connecting to people. Great, maybe that works, but then you get into bed with the girl, you get on the date with the girl, and you're still the terrified schmuck that doesn't know what to do with any of these energies. So don't be that guy. What you can do is be like, okay, so here's all the different parts of the personality that might make me overstep or understep. And for me, it was the fear of hurting people, fear of being the bad guy. So I was like, okay, let me define for myself what I genuinely think a bad guy is. And then let me make sure that I'm not that. So as long as I'm not doing what I have considered and what I have thought through and decided is the bad thing to do, everything else is up for grabs. I can do whatever I want, as long as I'm not doing what I have decided is bad and wrong by my own values and my own standards. And this isn't just something that you think through. It's something that you let the parts inside of you tell you. Because the part of you that genuinely cares about people will know when you're doing something that doesn't honor that. And the part of you that wants actual connection with people will know when you're doing something that doesn't honor that. And so you actually have to talk to it, listen to it, and be like, okay, so how can I express this thing in a way that doesn't do all the things that I don't want to do? And then as you kind of get into that questioning, they start to meld. And if you can hold and express all the emotions associated with it, that melding goes even quicker. And the next thing you know, the ability to say what you want in a way that retains connection just becomes normal. It becomes natural because the parts of you that want connection and the parts of you that just want to fuck are connected. And so you can when you want to connect when you want to connect and have everything work, and it could be great. This is a lot of work. It takes a little bit of time to do, especially depending on how much trauma you have or shame you're carrying or whatever else you might be dealing with. It can take a little bit of time to get here. However, I've personally found very few things to be as worth it, because what ends up happening is, for me anyway, this is a little fringe, but like for those of you who follow magic and hermeticism, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. It's this whole as above, so below thing. Because the part of you that cares about people is more or less your feminine side. And the part of you that just wants what it wants is your masculine side. And so when you learn to care about the way that people think and feel while getting what you want, you've essentially stepped into dominance. You've essentially stepped into leadership. You've stepped into being the daddy. You've stepped into the father archetype. You're saying, here's what I want, here's my standards, here's my values, here's what I stand for, here's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna claim these things in a way that makes the people and the parts of me that care about people feel safe, feel honored, feel taken care of, feel seen, and all those different things. You create healthy dominance, you create healthy leadership, you create healthy dynamics, and then you get to be the guy that you've always wanted to be in the first place without having to study lines, without having to regurgitate shit from Twitter. And it all just comes naturally because your natural masculine father archetype is now integrated into your natural masculine mother archetype. You're able to claim what you want, do what you want, penetrate, proceed, do all that shit while also being receptive to other people's feelings, caring about them, and doing both seamlessly. So I know this is a very big topic. I know there's a lot we could potentially go on. And so if you like this type of content, please let me know, because it not only helps the algorithm and helps me get this work out to more people, but it also lets me know what kind of stuff you guys want to watch. And I tailor my content here to what is going to be most helpful or entertaining or whatever. It's just good for you. So the more you like, comment, subscribe, do whatever, the more it tells me what kind of content you make. If you need to learn more about the shadow integration process itself, so some of this can make more sense, I have courses on my website you're welcome to take. Some of them are as little as $5. And you can also DM me, let me know if you have any other questions. If there's anything about this topic you'd like me to go deeper on, I'd be happy to do that. If you can't afford the courses, just let me know and I'll make content for you. So I love you, thanks for being here. I'm Chris Roscoe, and I'll see you next time.